The biggest mistake that the Democrats keep making is assuming that they can keep selling socially liberal ideas and fiscally conservative ones. One of the things that used to drive me the craziest back when I could not call myself a Democrat, I would call myself, I couldn't even call myself a liberal because that had been turned into this horrible limousine liberal term, which just made my skin crawl because I'd never ridden in a limousine since my senior prom. And then I ended up embracing the idea of progressivism. And being a progressive was the only place that I felt like I could land because it seemed like they cared about actual working people. Now, the problem is progressives were like ignored. They were belittled or seen as kind of an interesting little side issue by the big tent Dems. And there was a time period where literally the only distinction between the two parties, Republicans and Democrats, was how big of a tax cut they wanted to give to the rich. Everything else was something that we pretty much agreed on. And along came MAGA and their belief that if they weren't winning, they were losing. Let me tell you something. In theory, I get it. I felt like that a lot of times too. But I'm not a nihilist. I don't believe that I'm winning by ruling over a pile of ashes of society. And I have no desire to see people suffer, to somehow get to some far-off utopia somewhere down the road, like fucking Javier Milei in Argentina, with a 53% rate of poverty across that entire country, while the uber rich are figuring out how to build magnetic powered flight machines for themselves and their loved ones so they don't have to mix it up with the hoi polloi, and of course also get their throats cut like a IRL version of Cyberpunk 2077 coming to the 21st century here on Earth. And that kind of toxic bullshit seemed to be the only thing on offer underneath the very polite veneer of the Republican promise. I think that's why I was so turned off by the ideas of patriotism and USA, USA, number one. Because it felt so fucking hollow. I'm like, number one at what? Number one at being the biggest dicks in the world? Number one at being cutthroat, backwards looking, hate-filled, lying, whoremongering bastards? Is that what we're number one at? We're number one at going and swinging our dick all over the world and saying, if you don't like the way my dick swings, shut up or suck it. What exactly are we celebrating here? This was where the cynicism of the progressives came from, because we wanted something real. We wanted something authentic. We didn't need it to be pretty. We didn't need it to be perfect. We didn't need it to be fully formed. We needed it to be authentic and connected to things that actually care about normies. People are just walking around trying to live their fucking lives, follow the rules, and build a society that has rules that actually work for normal people. And like, I don't think that that's far from MAGA. I really don't. Any of you out there who are still hanging in and talking to me, even though you voted for Trump, I appreciate that. Because we're not that far apart. We are not. Because I'm going to tell you something. I don't like that the Dems are attached to their corporate donors' teats. I don't like that they will say the right things, but they won't shake the boat enough to actually make realistic changes for the working class. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that it's known that some people in Kamala Harris's circle were the ones who talked her out of the very, I thought, effective line of policy that she could have put in place to stop the price gouging by corporate assholes in the grocery stores and in our Targets and Walmarts, etc. Okay, and like, she got scared off of that because, you know, of little things like, well, you know, the donors aren't gonna like that very much if you start over-regulating them, or, you know, when even like the LinkedIn guy, wasn't he, like Reed something, was saying something about he wasn't so fond of Lena Khan at the FTC because, you know, he's a little aggressive. That right there, coming out on MSNBC, was like a super big hint, like, do not challenge us. And the thing about it is, as much as I don't like that, I fucking hate the way the Republicans will go, yes, sir, what is it that you need, sir? You're rich. You must know everything. You must be brilliant. You must have every idea in the planet, right? Because I've listened to some of these rich fuckers, and they know what they know, okay? And they don't know what they don't know, and they need to shut the fuck up and listen to the experts on the stuff they don't know. That's called humility, friends. And I'm going to tell you something right now. And I was talking with my friend Inferior Bandar about that. Call out. Nice talking to you all the time, Inferior. He and I don't agree politically, but we do see something very similar, which is there's some fucking broken shit happening. You know, you look at Luigi and Mangione, you're talking about the completion of a circle. That is a scream of rage from a place of broken hate around late-stage capitalism that continues to sell us a line of shit, or basically piss on our backs and tell us it's rain. Nobody believes that. We just don't know how to get past it to the reality. So what I'm saying to you is, I do not think Dems are perfect. I just think there's no choices on the other side. I don't want a President Elon high on K and like 3 nights of no sleep, who's essentially taking the last thing he saw on fucking cat turb or libs of TikTok and saying, oh, well, that's a perfect idea for society. Like, what the fuck are we thinking? No one has that much brain power, no matter how much money is in their bank account. Okay? So all I'm saying is, please don't understand what I say to mean that I 1000% buy in on everything going on in the Democratic Party. I think Dems historically have been spineless, and Republicans have been shameless. I think, and I had always thought, that the most practical way to proceed was to work with the party that works with you and then push them to be better by making sure they understand that they have to respond, they have to deliver if they want to stay where they're at. That's my political belief. You can call that whatever the fuck you want. Progressive, liberal, whatever. I believe in democracy. I want it to fucking work the way it was promised. That's all. And I think many Americans do. And so a lot of you out there who are calling yourselves MAGA, you might just well be a progressive. You just didn't know that's what it's called. Something to think about.